Top 18 Physical Education Teacher Interview Questions and Answers. Here is a comprehensive list of common interview questions and answers for physical education teachers. The aim is to help physical educators find the most pertinent information to prepare themselves for their job interviews. Let's get started. 1. Why are you interested in this role? The interviewer intends to know what you hope to gain from this position. Talk about something that will show your talents and skills in physical education. Sample answer. I see this job as an opportunity to share the knowledge and skills I have acquired over the years. I think it would be interesting to work with your students and help them improve, and I know that together we can develop their abilities and help them become more confident in what they do. It's also an excellent opportunity to work with students and help them build teamwork, improve discipline and self-confidence, and achieve high levels of performance and passion for sports. 2. Share an example of how you mentored a student. The interviewer is looking for your experiences in dealing with students. Be specific about your experience and what actions you took. Sample answer. The first thing I did was to assess the student's physical fitness level. Then I had a one-on-one talk with the student, and we drew up a plan that we would follow throughout the semester. Every week we would measure his progress, and at the end of the semester, he got an A in physical education. It was a great feeling seeing him succeed, and I feel honored with his success. 3. How do you use technology in your physical education program? To the interviewer, how you use technology is of utmost importance. Always answer this question with a specific example of what you have used in your role. Sample answer. I have always been impressed by using technology to help my students achieve their full potentials. I am constantly looking for new ways to use technology to benefit my students and make their lives easier. I always fill my classes with technological aids that motivate students to keep up with their physical training. 4. How did you effectively plan a physical education program with class size? Managing a physical education program with a class or group size will be the most critical factor in determining if you are a good fit for this position. Sample answer. I always kept in mind how my classes would function when I was teaching my pre-kindergarten students. I figured out the number of students per teacher and the ratio of boys to girls to have a fun and dynamic classroom environment. I also take into account any special programs that the kids have to sign up for. This way, I can have the correct number of stations for everyone, and there will be no shortage of equipment or facilities. If I noticed one class was bigger than the other, I would adjust my schedule to participate in all exercises, regardless of their grade. 5. How do you encourage student participation? Encouragement is crucial because it gives your students a sense of what you expect from them from the very beginning. Always talk about something that will show how you motivate your students. Sample answer. I always try to remind my students about their responsibilities by giving them extra homework to do. I have a very clear conduct policy for my classes to know what behavior is unacceptable. I also provide them with an award for participation in sports or physical activities so they realize how much I appreciate their efforts. 6. What do you understand by a developmentally appropriate curriculum? The interviewer wants to see if you know what a developmentally appropriate curriculum is. That will help determine if you are ready to teach physical education. Sample answer. A developmentally appropriate curriculum is designed to meet the individual needs of all students, especially those who are at risk. It should be carefully thought out to ensure that students do not go too far with their learning and leave behind the behaviors they need to learn later on. That is essential to ensure that every student gets the appropriate environment to learn and grow. I understand that I have to focus on the physical and mental development of my students. I make sure they are constantly learning new concepts and practices to become more confident and successful. I also make sure that they can actively participate in activities that allow them to quickly remember and retain the information. 7. What would you do if a student refused to an exercise in your lesson? The interviewer wants to know how you handle students who are stubborn in class. Demonstrate that you can deal with difficult students. Sample answer. I would explain to the students why they need to exercise and how it will benefit them. If they still refuse, I would make sure that the facilities and equipment are available for them and still get their work done. I would also try to see what made them refuse to address the issue, possibly with their parents. 8. How do you prepare students for performing in their peer group? The interviewer wants you to ensure that your students are comfortable with their peers and get along well enough to work together on an exercise or program. Share the strategy you use to group your students. Sample answer. I always place the students in groups based on their class level. I get to know where they are technically proficient and help them improve their skills by providing them with the proper equipment. I also make sure that they are adequately informed of any safety precautions or other issues regarding the performance. During the exercise, I constantly monitor them to ensure that they perform the tasks correctly and safely. 9. Describe briefly about your experience. The interviewer wants to know about your experience. Share your past experiences, such as education level, the schools you worked in, and your skills. Sample answer. I have over 8 years of experience as a physical education teacher. I have worked in different schools at elementary, middle, high, and even college levels. I also taught other sports like basketball, football, volleyball, and I had my own business where I trained coaches to improve their skills before working in private schools. Additionally, I have a vast knowledge of dealing with people pressured by their job, high-risk students, and handling difficult situations. 10. What are the roles of a physical education teacher? The interviewer wants to know if you are conversant with the roles of a physical education teacher. Share the functions of the physical education teacher and convince the interviewer that you can perform these roles efficiently. Sample answer. A physical education teacher should know how to train and adequately instruct their students to perform at their maximum level under different situations. They should monitor the changing needs of their class and adjust accordingly. They also need to motivate their students by appealing their natural curiosity in specific activities to avoid losing interest. Additionally, he should constantly observe his students' progress to benefit from the lessons and become more physically active. 11. What are the qualities that a physical education teacher needs to be successful? The interviewer wants to know what qualities a physical education teacher needs to succeed. Show that you have these qualities. Sample answer. A successful physical education teacher must be knowledgeable of their subjects and ready to use the knowledge in the classroom. They have to deal with students from different backgrounds and age groups of varying abilities to not face struggles while learning. They must also be friendly towards their students, willing to do anything for them, and be ready to help them reach their academic goals. 12. Share with us your greatest achievements. The interviewer wants to know your most outstanding achievements as a physical education teacher. Mention some of your achievements and the strategy you used to achieve them. Sample answer. I am very proud to say that I have been teaching physical education for more than 8 years. During this time, I have been able to help my students achieve their goals and improve their overall fitness level. Several of my students have been accepted in different sports leagues in our neighborhood, and others have been elected leaders of the school because of their excellent work ethic. I consider these as outstanding achievements that I attained. 13. Why do you feel you are the most suited for this role? The interviewer wants to know if you are confident in your abilities to take on the responsibilities of a physical education teacher. Sample answer. I have over 8 years of experience in this field and have vast knowledge and skills on the things the students need to be successful. I have learned different techniques in my area up to date, and I can apply them in my lessons. Moreover, I have also learned different ways of dealing with students so they can learn better. I have great experience dealing with students from different economic backgrounds, different schools, and a variety of special needs. That makes me a more efficient teacher and a great asset to my class. 14. Describe a time you failed in this role and the lessons you learned. The interviewer wants to know if you can accept failure and what you did to prevent it from happening again. Share an experience you consider a failure in your career path. Sample answer. One of my biggest failures in this career was teaching a class of very young students. They were starting to learn the basic concepts of the sport, so I wanted to use different strategies to help them. But they kept getting frustrated at their inability to do what I had told them, so they refused to continue with the activities. Instead of creating an environment where learning can be fun, I realized that I had made a stressful situation for them, which they weren't comfortable with. As a result, I realized that I would have to adapt my training methodologies to be more fun and engaging. Also, this experience made me realize that I should manage my classes better, so they are not overwhelmed by activities or other students. 15. How do you stay motivated in your work? The interviewer wants to know the things that motivate you to work. Highlight your primary sources of inspiration. Sample answer: the satisfaction I get when I see my students enjoy what they are doing motivates me to work harder every day. It makes me realize that what I am doing is worth it because it can benefit other people. Additionally, the thrill of getting good grades and compliments from my superiors also motivates me to want to do better in life. I also read a lot about other teachers who have been very successful in the area of physical education. Their success stories help me to know approaches I can use to do better. Besides, I am very passionate about teaching. So, I have an inner drive that keeps me going. 16. How do you deal with impatient and aggressive behavior in the classroom? Here, the interviewer wants to know how you deal with impatient or aggressive behavior. Mention what methods you prefer to use in your classroom. Sample answer: I always try to stay calm when my students exhibit these behaviors, so I can adequately assess the situation and take the proper actions. I will try to have a one-on-one talk with the student to figure out what happened and how to fix it. I will also look for possible solutions to avoid similar situations in the future. 17. What is the biggest challenge that you foresee in this job? The interviewer wants to know the biggest challenge you foresee in this job and how you might overcome it. Sample answer: the biggest challenge I foresee in this job is dealing with behavioral issues while still maintaining my professionalism. I will also have to take care of students who might not be paying attention in class and be strict when it comes time to perform their duties, so they do not become a distraction and mess things up for the other students. I plan on overcoming this challenge by learning how to deal with these students effectively. I will also try to have a supportive team of teachers so students can learn from their experiences. 18. What kind of mindset and strategy is required for this role? The interviewer needs to know if you have strategies that can help you succeed in this role. Highlight the measures you put in place to ensure your success. Sample answer: to succeed in this role, I need to be friendly and open with my students. I always make sure that I am approachable to them to feel comfortable telling me what they need to work on. It also helps when I start doing things with them instead of just talking to them. For example, instead of just telling a student how they should grip a baseball bat, I take time to show them how they should do it. That helps them to visualize what they are doing and how it should look. I also believe that I need to be patient with my students because they will not always know everything right away, so I should be patient enough to help them by giving them tips or telling them how they should do things.